I'm not as nervous as I thought I was going to be. I'd like to point out that I actually asked to speak here because as part of my sort of CPD, I have been leading quietly behind the head teacher on the school food. He stands at the front and sort of says how wonderful it is, really wonderful, but it has been hard work on the way, and it is still hard work. So he hasn't seen my presentation, so I'm going to give you more of a sort of warts and all side of where we started and what we're doing and what we continue, what we would like to do in the future. So why did we change our dining service? There were many, many reasons. This was the first reason. Our school was founded in 1810. Obviously this building isn't from 1810, but this was our dining hall. We'd have to have 2 sittings, and we could only fit the school dinners in there. Packed lunches would have to be squished into classrooms, and then everything cleaned up, and there'd be food everywhere, and it just wasn't very nice for the children. And in 2010, we converted to an academy, so we were able to sort of take control of the buildings, and that was an opportunity for us to try and get some money so that we could build a new school, a new canteen, because I don't know if you're of a nervous disposition. I'll show you some of the things that were actually in the hall. It didn't have any heating, and so when we pulled things out, this is what was going on. It's disgusting. And this is where we were cooking food for the children, for sort of 300 children at the time. This was up in the corners. It really was disgusting. So we were lucky enough to get 1.7 million to build a new hall. So we knocked the hall down. Unfortunately, it didn't run on time because they found asbestos underneath. So 4 months and £20,000 later, we were able to build the hall. But this isn't the hall. Obviously, while the hall was just a building site, we had to house the children and find some accommodation for other events and for school dinners. So we found sort of the sturdiest marquee that we could, and we sort of made it look pretty. And you can see just in the corner there, we had a counter. It was basically 2 hot plates, and the Devon County caterers, they managed to dish up 1 hot meal a day, or a jacket potato, or soup. We had no dishwashing facilities, so everything was served in paper pots with plastic cutlery. So we'd gone from being able to serve typical school dinners, a bit like the first picture we were shown, to serving 1 meal in a paper pot, and our numbers plummeted for school dinners. Also, it was just at the end of every lunchtime. It was embarrassing. It was disgraceful. And these are photos that I emailed the teachers just saying this is completely unacceptable. The food might not be particularly nice. I didn't eat it, but the children were behaving in such a way that they were leaving this sort of mess. And is it acceptable? Should they clean up? The children were going up to the counter to get a jacket potato in a pot, understandably, cheese, walking back, shredding it in the carpet. It was gross. So we got the children involved actually in the cleaning up, which was the start of something we continued further along. That's an example of one of the meals. I think they were turkey balls. They're probably turkey Twizzlers just rolled up. It was disgusting. That was actually a portion size, but they put it in a pot. Children were complaining, parents were complaining. Again, our numbers plummeted. There were also behavioural issues because the children were cramped. It was noisy in the marquee. Teachers didn't want to be in there. The children didn't want to be in there. Haven't got any photos. No one was throwing chairs or anything. It was just noisy and fairly unpleasant. So we started building the hall, and we decided, having all the moving around in the marquee and the previous hall, that we wouldn't put a hatch in. So there would be no movement of children during the lunchtime. So no going up with your flight tray or with your plate. We'd sort of introduce this dining service where the food would be taken to the children. That you can see into the kitchen there. This was the new hall when it was finished. It's fabulous. We love it. We're really, really proud of it. So we worked a bit with the school food. We looked at the standards, looked at these things. We met with parents, and we came up with the idea of a school dining club. And these were the things we were hoping and still hoping to achieve. So we wanted to improve the food, which, to be honest, wasn't going to be that difficult. We wanted more of a choice. We had lots of children with various allergies. We wanted to run the table service, and we also wanted more of a family dining rather than children coming in, eating their food, going out, to make it more of a social experience. This, we hoped, would support behaviour, but we also wanted to make it affordable. Obviously, when you are spending more on better ingredients and you need more staff, the cost does go up. So to make it affordable and viable, we needed commitment from parents. So we came up with this dining club, and this is how we market it to the parents before it was set up. So we reduced the cost of a school meal if the parents pay up front for a whole or half a term. So it would equate to £1.20 for the parents per day, rather than £2.20. So over a year, a parent would save £190. If you've got 2, 3, or sometimes we've got 5 from a family, that's a massive saving over a year. And we were hoping that that was going to be an incentive for parents to buy in. And it generally was, but they had loads of questions. And I've put some of the questions coming up next. And when I was writing this yesterday morning, I realised that lots of the answers to the questions were actually no, which isn't always that positive. So can my child decide to have a school dinner on the day? So can they come in the morning and go, right, Mum didn't make a packed lunch, can I have a school dinner? The answer is no, because to make it viable, we know exactly what the numbers are in advance. So we're only ordering the right amount of food. So it can be fresh, it doesn't need to be stored. So we know exactly what's going on, and that is how we keep the costs down. My child is a fussy eater, what are the options? So at this point we said we're going to appoint a new chef. We're going to be working with the children and with the parents, and we're going to be looking at what they like and what we think is a healthy but appealing to the children, that sort of menu. What if my child is away or on a school trip? Will they get their money back because they've already paid for half a term or a term? The answer to that is no. That didn't go down particularly well. Obviously, if they're having free school meals, they're entitled to have a packed lunch, so they would go to the office and we would make them a packed lunch. But for the rest of the school, no, they don't. If they're ill, anything, they don't get a packed lunch. So they don't like the current menu. Will it change? Yes, it will. We're investing in a chef. We're going to take it all in-house. Will it be the same? Certainly not the same as it was in that yucky marquee. Can we pay weekly? No, because we need the commitment and guarantee of the numbers and the money for the whole term or the half term. How will the ordering system work, and do I need to order in advance? Yes. Again, to make it viable and to reduce wastage and to guarantee the income to pay the staff and buy the food, we need to know in advance, and we ask the parents to look at the menu and order a week in advance, so we can speak to the greengrocers, the butchers on the Friday, and they'll know exactly what we need to be delivered on each day. Parents were a bit concerned about that. It's a bit like when you're going for your Christmas dinner and you say, well, I don't know what I'm in October, I don't know what I'm going to eat for the Christmas meal in December, I want to order on the day. Some of the children were like that, but it did give parents the chance to sit with the children and read through the menu and make sure they were actually ordering something that they would enjoy. If my child changes their mind, can we opt out? Again, that was a no, so that's why we opted for the half term, but it's a no, so parents were becoming fairly sceptical. Will there be a packed lunch option on the menu? Again, no. We're there to cook a meal for the children, not to make them a packed lunch. So the family dining service, this is what we had to do to get it running. We had to appoint a chef. We wanted to encourage the children to be part of the dining ethos. We really needed to have good food. We needed to engage with the children, and then from that we had cooking and tasting sessions with the children so they could help design the menu, and regular feedback. And regular feedback is still going on. We're always asking the parents. We have online feedback forms. We have forums for the children. So the children were involved in the interviews. When people came for the interview, they had to cook a meal. We gave them an amount of money that they were allowed to spend per child. We then asked them to work out the finances, the profit, the loss. Would it cover the cost of the staff? Because we were taking it all in-house. So we needed to make sure that the chef, could work with our business manager to keep this whole thing afloat. This is when we first started the children serving the other children, which they were really excited about. They loved it. They loved the responsibility. They loved working with the younger children. This is our chef. We finally got a chef because actually we were let down by someone who was moving from Ireland, and it was gutting because we were all set up. We told the parents how wonderful this service is, and we were let down, and we had to carry on with the Devon catering company that we were using in our lovely new hall, which wasn't what we wanted. We wanted to have this big opening and for it to be wonderful. So we were all really disappointed. But we finally got Steve, who came from Exeter University, and we worked with him to appoint the sous chef. So he has control of the menu with guidance from us as the leadership team. He probably gets fed up with me. I'm in there every single day. So he is able to cook really nice food. We have the focus group. So each half term, the classes, they'll have a representative who will come and they'll work with the chef. They'll talk about what they liked, what they didn't like, because we monitor what's thrown in the bin so that we can see what is popular, what we need to encourage the children to eat, because there's no point in chucking the broccoli away. If the broccoli's going in the bin, then there's a problem and we need to encourage the children to eat. We have regular parent consultation meetings about loads of things, but every time food is on the menu. Food is on the agenda. So the parents come along, the chef cooks the food that has been proposed by them and the children. Parents can come along and try the food, then they give us feedback. So the whole thing is being reviewed and revised the whole time. Online ordering, so that they can order at home. We then collate everything, sort of the dull bit. So this is what we ended up with older children serving the younger children. Every child has a seat, and every day they go and sit in the same seat. We have year groups mixed, so we have year 6 serving year 4, year 2 and year 1. We have year 5, year 3 and reception. So there's generally about 3 or 4 children serving the whole table. So the kitchen staff will bring out, if it's a lasagna, they'll bring out a whole lasagna and put it in the middle of the table. The children will serve, someone will then go round with the salad, someone else will pour the water. So it is a proper family dining experience for the children. Parents, it went down really well with the children, and probably 98% of the parents were really on board. They thought it was good. A really small minority saw it as slave labour. And why should it's awful. Why should my child go to school to serve other children? And we'd introduced the cleaning up. Why is my child there? They go to school to learn, not to be serving food and not to be cleaning up. Our opinion at the school is that is all part of learning, that is part of the social experience. So we got the children on board, that's the head teacher. We got all the children into the hall. We showed them how to lay a table. We showed them how to sit down nicely, how to sit up, how to have a quiet conversation. What was expected of all the children, what was expected of the year ones and the year twos who were being served, because it's not all about the person serving, it's how are you polite and how are you nice and how do you ask for things. So what we needed was the good food. The chef was really good. We spent quite a lot of time with social media marketing the food for the parents so that the parents would see how lovely it was. On Facebook we had lovely comments from the parents and they were asking for the recipes so they could reproduce these meals at home. That's my favourite photo. So the thing that I found it's come back to all the time is leadership and getting the teachers to engage with the children. It's part of the school day. We have English in the morning, we have maths, then we have lunchtime, and it is part of that. And so we need to have the teachers involved in it. Here are the teachers. This, as part of the hall, we built a cafe. We had a staff room that would seat 6 people. And in total, if everyone is on site, we have 70 staff. So you'd have the people that had worked there for 30 years and they had their chair. No one else was allowed to sit down. So people would take their food back to their desks, they'd work while they're checking their emails. So we built this cafe. We employed a cafe manager who makes lovely, she calls them bistro meals. So last week I had a pear and Stilton salad. I can't remember what else it is, but so the teachers were really reluctant. They hated the idea that they were going to be eating in the same room. There's no doors. That is their staff room. They're in the same room as the children. So every day we have 2 members of staff, 2 teachers on duty in the hall for each sitting. In return, they get one of the nice school dinners or one of the bistro menus, the meal of the day. We had to explain to them that there are MTAs, and the MTAs are there to help serve the children, but as a teacher you are there to educate the children in how to eat, how to be nice at the table. This is one of my favourite phrases that I say as I walk around. They are learning, but the number of times I have seen a roast potato on a fork and they're... So here, this is me demonstrating how to use a knife and fork. We're lucky to have the big screen. You can't see it on the 3rd photo. iPhone, AirPlay. Look at this child. They're eating really nicely, demonstrating, continuously reinforcing how to be at a dining table. So has it worked? Well, March was when we first went into the hall and we started the dining club. So we had 56%, which isn't that bad in comparison, but it went up to 80% of the children in the school having school dinners. And it has continued to rise. We have got really odd dip years where, I don't know why it is, I think one of them was a teacher that didn't eat. And if she did eat, the food she ate was so bad that she hid it. She'd have a packed lunch of crisps and chocolate, and she was pale and had breathing problems, and I think it's her own fault. No, it's not. It's she wasn't selling the school food. She wasn't encouraging the children to try new things. So has it worked? Stats like that, I quite like stats, but there was one day when the head was off, well, it was, I don't know, a meeting or something, and we had a power cut, and we had to feed the children. The power went, I think, at about 11:10, so we had to get all the children fed, or we had to go and buy sandwiches from somewhere else, or go and get a load of bread and really quickly do something. So I decided that we would get all the school dinners into the hall and get them served. So they ate at about 11:30, 20 to 12. And it was such a relief that it worked. I actually filmed a clip and I sent it to the head teacher, and I'll show it to you now. It's very, very short. It's just the whole school, the whole dining room with everyone eating in there. It's just to prove that I had managed to run the school while he wasn't there. Oop. hang on. Do I get it? Can I get it to play or not? Can you? So this is the school hall. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on. This is the one. So these are all the children. Is it not playing? Oh, thanks. So these are all the children in our school. We've got 430 children from reception to year 6. This is all the children crammed in. They were crammed in, but it was that or they didn't get a hot meal. So in our school of 430 children and then 90 in the nursery, this is how many children were having school dinners.